Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of SDG Library's Virtual Trivia Nights. All October long, we've been celebrating Canadian Public Library Month, so this month we're bringing you a very special library-themed trivia. Before we get started, here's a quick reminder for all of our players of how the trivia night works. We have 3 rounds and a picture round, with each round getting progressively harder. All you need to play is a pen and paper. Don't forget to be honest, and don't share your answers with the other players. We want this to stay as fun as possible. You can pause at any time to think about a question, and don't forget to come back on Monday to see our answers. Let's get started with round 1. We have 10 multiple choice questions here. Question 1. SDG Library has 3 express locations. Which one of the following locations is not an express library? A. St. Andrews, B. Glenroy, C. Dalkeith, or D. Glenwalter? Question 2. True or false? There are more libraries than McDonald's restaurants in the United States. Question 3. What system is often used to catalog nonfiction materials in public libraries? A. Dewey Decimal System, B. David's Decimal System, C. Fibonacci Sequence, or D. Apple iOS? Question 4. Where can you find information about all of SDG Library's programs? A. Sailor, B. Wayfinder, C. Pilot, or D. Navigator? Question 5. Which city boasts the largest public library system in Canada? A. Toronto, B. Vancouver, C. Montreal, or D. Calgary? Question 6. Which Roald Dahl character is a famous lover of libraries? A. Charlie Bucket, B. Matilda Wormwood, C. James Henry Trotter, or D. the BFG? Question 7. What is the name of our new e-content provider for ebooks and e-audiobooks? A. Cloud Library, B. Rain Library, C. Google Books, or D. Hulu? Question 8. Who said the only thing that you absolutely have to know is the location of the library? A. Donald Trump, B. Paul McCartney, C. Albert Einstein, or D. Kanye West? Question 9. Which country has a library of smells? A. Japan, B. Canada, C. Uganda, or D. France? Question 10. Which city has a magician's library? A. Las Vegas, B. Whitehorse, C. New York City, or D. Berlin? That's it for round 1. So now it's time for a second round of 10 questions. There's no multiple choice, and it gets a little bit harder. Question 1. Which SDG library branch carries the most French titles? Question 2. Which First Lady funded the Pack Horse Library Project in rural Kentucky? Question 3. In which SDG library branch would you find a cricket machine, guitars, and an emphasis on maker programs? Question 4. Who wrote the recent bestseller, The Library Book, which tells the wider story of American libraries as well as the story of the fire at the Los Angeles Public Library? Question 5. Which book is stolen most often from libraries? Question 6. What is the biggest library in the world? Question 7. Who wrote Elias Grace, Cat's Eye, and The Edible Woman? Question 8. What genealogy database is available at the library? Question 9. Who is the current Director of Library Services for the SDG Library? Question 10. How many branches does the SDG Library have? Round 3. This is our picture round, and there are only 5 questions here. Question 1. Located outside New York Public Library, what are the names of these 2 lions? Question 2. This famous author also served as a sub-librarian at Christ College, Oxford. Question 3. This is a picture of the inside of which library in Canada? Question 4. This image is of which Irish library and permanent home to the Book of Kells? Question 5. This former First Lady of the United States is also a trained librarian. Round 4. Here are our 10 hardest questions of this trivia game. Are you ready? let's get started. Question 1. Which television character said the following? You want weapons? We're in a library. Books are the best weapon in the world. Question 2. What is the name of the Scottish-American industrialist that funded 125 libraries in Canada and over 2,500 around the world? Question 3. Which National Librarian of Canada was also an author whose most famous children's story was set on a Quebec ice rink? Question 4. What is the theme of Canadian Public Library Month 2020? Question 5. What is the name of the strict librarian at Hogwarts? Question 6. October celebrates Canadian Public Library Month, but when is Library Lovers' Day celebrated? Question 7. The Tikkurila Library in Finland has what kind of unique room? Question 8. A library in Portugal uses what to protect against insects that could damage books? Question 9. After how many years was the most overdue library book returned? Question 10. Who is the only author who has published at least one book in 9 out of the 10 Dewey Decimal categories? That's it this time. That wraps up this portion of our trivia night. Let us know in the comments below how you think you did. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you had fun, and we'll see you next time.